Flipping heck, that is absolute joke. Sorry. God, that is so far, and if that has not come off, I will eat my hat. Even putting it on for cameras or not, I'm physically knackered. I've not fished a match at this venue for 20 years. I've brought you to Kiveton Waters. It's a really cool venue, full of big carp. I'm really excited because I love this style of fishing. We've got a little bit of an evening match going on, a lot of good local anglers. Hopefully I get a good peg because I'm going to be up against it today. Let's see how we get on. So, got a few minutes before the all-in. Quite a weird little peg this one, not got loads of room, but the wind's blowing in and I've seen a few fish tops, so I'm confident of catching down the edge, which is going to be one of my main ploys in the last part of the match. And then I'm actually only got two areas of my peg that I'm actually going to be targeting because there's not a lot of options. It's quite shallow all the way across. It's about 2.5 to 3 foot deep, not a lot of water at all. So I'm going to fish across. It's about 15 metres, something like that. Hopefully the wind's not too bad, so it's going to blow me in. But I'm going to fish hard pellets across. I don't want to speak too loud because they might hear me. Hard pellets across, I think that'll be really nice. I'm going to ping a few and pot a few in with a little pole pot. Take it all in now. So that's what I'm literally going to start on right now. Literally fishery 6mm pellets, one in a band. And I'm going to start across. I'm not going to feed my edges until about an hour and a half in, something like that. I don't want to go too gun-ho straight away down the edge. I know there's a few there. I've seen a few topping. So I'm going to keep it really simple. I think, especially when you've got a lot of fish to potentially target, I don't want loads of bait everywhere. So I'm literally going to half fill this medium Guru pole pot, 6mm fishery pellet. It's going to give me pole pot a little dunk so they don't fall out. And I'm literally just going to start fishing across. And I'm going to set a little timer in my head, an hour and a half in, and then I'm going to put a pot of ground bait in down the edge because I really fancy catching down the edge for quite a potentially last 3 hours of the match. Hopefully I can get to, like, say 6 fish here. If I can get to 6 or 7 fish over here where I'm fishing now, I'll be absolutely buzzing. And then I've got the last 2.5 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, empty all them pellets out. So we're gonna, super simple attack, as in like I'm just literally fishing 2 areas of my peg, that's it. But the depth of water is really funny. It's only 2.5 foot deep all the way across, literally from where my keep nets are right through to where I'm fishing now. So I'm just going to literally start by rattling a few 6mm in. I'm not going to fire loads of bait in just yet because the wind's a bit tricky, so that's where feeding with a little pole pot's nice. You can get in a little tight area in and around your hook bait. I'm just going to set a little trap. I could potentially fish micros over there, I could do, but I fancy fishing hard pellets because one, it's a long way to ship out, and two, if you do miss a bite, you're not striking your bait off. So say if I was fishing baits like corn or something like that, I think you could definitely strike your bait off. When you do get a bite, you strike your bait off and you're wasting a bit of time. Whereas hard pellets, obviously in the little micro band, you're fishing all the time. But I obviously, as you saw from the start of the film, I haven't fished here for so long. I actually did a little film here not long ago, which has made me want to come and fish a match here, to be honest. Did a little mini masterclass. And I caught some lovely sized carp, but I was literally further out round the corner in the main bowl of the lake, which everyone said this at the start, this could be an absolute screamer, but it's one of them. It's a real feast or famine sort of peg. Like if the fish aren't here in numbers, I don't think you're going to compete with the main bowl, because obviously the main bowl of the lake, you've got so much room to draw fish into. Whereas here, I've not got a lot of room at all. But the beauty of this peg, it's actually one of the only pegs that you can fish across with a pole, and if the wind allows it, like the wind now is perfect, there's no wind, it's great, that's allowing me to fish hard pellets across or a long pole across, and it's literally the only peg on the whole lake that you can do that. So if they do end up, you know what I'm going to do instantly, I'm thinking I need to make some noise here. If they do decide to, you know, if they are here, then it could be absolutely brilliant, but as yet I've not had a sign. But I like the idea of, you know, fishing a long pole to start with, potentially get a good, I'm only keeping in my head, like, I'm only thinking, right, let's get to 6 fish, get to 6 fish, and then we're going to think about the edge. I like to pick my catapult up, especially at the start of a session, because I want to make noise. I want to make that plop, 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 plop. They were actually Mark Foy, the lad who is running this fishery, good friend. He said to flick a rig across into them reeds, and as soon as I've fired a few pellets in, the far bank, the reeds, I don't know if you can see it on camera there, they're absolutely knocking like mad. So you might be right, maybe flicking a rig's the one. I've got a long rig with me, so maybe I can have that up my sleeve, but I don't want to do it just yet. I'd like to get a couple of fish on the deck here, just to give me a bit of confidence that there's a number of fish here. Because right now I can see an odd reed knocking, it's great, but I don't know. Tricky. Part of me is definitely thinking flick a rig now. It's fishing lovely, really nice, can't knock it out, it's fishing. Setting a little trap, I've got a few pellets running around my bait. No bites yet though, which is a bit worrying if I'm honest. But I'm not going to panic just yet. Making that noise is important, especially early on, because you've got to let them know you're there. So I'm just going to keep nice and patient. Not going to rush. You're not fishing for tons of fish. So potentially if this goes under, could be a £10 plus fish. I don't know how big the average stamp is in here, but when I was fishing on that mini masterclass, there were big fish. So I'm not panicking. I can always flick a rig if I want to in a bit, but I've just seen a carp swirl right by the reeds to my right, just slight to my right. Interesting, because it's only dead shallow there. I don't think I'm going to catch a load of fish flicking a rig, if I'm honest. I'd rather catch them how I'm thinking I'm going to fish now for them. It's interesting, you know, because it's different, totally different fishing than when I used to come here last time. It's a lot of the fish are bigger. When I used to come here, there were a lot smaller stamp carp. They weren't as big, and there were more carp. But now there's a lot less carp, but bigger stamp. So it's quite interesting. Put a little I'm not going to put tons of pellets in. I don't want to overcook my peg. Like I said at the start of the session, I don't know how it's fishing obviously because I'm so far away from everyone else I can't see anything, but I don't think anyone's catching anything yet. Got a couple of young anglers to my left. But like I said to you, I'm not going to panic. I don't want to panic. I don't think you have to. Create a nice tight little trap, and we're just going to be nice and patient now. I think I'm, like I said to you, not fishing for tons of bites. So I'm going to sit there, be nice and patient, set a trap, see how we get on. Set a liner then. Float's moved about 4 inches to my left. I'll lift it up, create a little bit of sight. Right, tell you what, you were bang right with boy. That was in that reed before I even looked. So I've lost my first fish. Great. I cannot believe how quick that fish just went into the reeds then. It's the only problem when you are fishing across there, it could be a bit brutal fishing, to be honest. But it's a sign, at least. It's a sign. Didn't feel in the mouth that, to be honest. I think I might have struck at a bit of a liner then. I'm actually going to have 5 more minutes. I'm going to fish on the bottom out there, but I'm instantly thinking I need to start flicking a rig and feeding up to the edge of them reeds, because I reckon they're all like a foot deep. I really do. It's only 2.5 foot deep there, but I think I need to be a bit more open to fishing shallow. Like, as in, it's not shallow. I'll show you the technique I do. You're almost flicking a rig. It's something I've done quite a lot, but honestly, I cannot believe how quick that just went in the reeds then. I've got to be on it there. We're real slow. I've got to be really quick when I ship back there. Jesus, it pulled so hard that. Good sign though, good early sign. At least I've had a fish on, but I think I need to start. I've just seen a fish swirl to my right, really on the surface. So I think I'm going to start instantly. I'm thinking I'm going to start flicking a rig here. I'm literally just going to flick an 8mm pellet up to them reeds and feed an odd 6mm over the top. But I tell you what, it's going to be like jungle warfare this, because that was ridiculous. Exciting though, it's exciting, no doubt about it. Yeah, there's an odd fish on the surface now, right in the middle, just slightly to my left. I feel like fishing shallow is going to be my best bet here. I'm not getting enough bites, as in like I ain't had a single bite. I reckon I struck at the liner then. I think I'm sure it'll foul up. But it's interesting. It is early doors, so I'm just, like I said to you, I want to try and get to like, I'm thinking 6 fish. And if I can catch like say 10 down the edge there again, I'm thinking potentially I think you're going to need 100 to 140, but it depends how it fishes, because I don't know. I'm saying 140, but I haven't fished here for 20 years, so I don't really know. I know it can go mental when they are catching down the edges, but it doesn't seem prolific now, because like there's not a lot of bites there. Quite a lot of fish knocking these reeds here. So I'm instantly thinking fish shallow right up, like flicking a rig, as they say, flicking a rig. Yeah, I can hear them sucking right at the back of there's a lot of big banker reeds. I tell you what, it's a lot deeper than you think, as in to the far bank. It's about 4 metres of reeds that are sticking out. It's interesting. I haven't had a proper positive bite yet, as in that's what you're looking for, then bites that go under like 1,000,000 miles an hour. I haven't had one yet, which is making me think that they're not, either one, they're not wanting to be on the bottom out there, or 2, there's not enough fish here, which can happen. You know, there might not be enough fish here. I'm hemmed in a little bit, as in you're either going to be catching across here or down the edge, and you haven't got any other option really. But I'm going to give it another 30 seconds, and if this doesn't go under with, as in I get a bite, I'm going to pick up a longer rig, and I'm going to flick a pellet close to them them reeds here. Nope, it's not good enough. Right, change of plan. That's where I want them. Right, perfect, they're flicking now. It's flicking time. Again, I'm going to get an 8mm pellet, just a fishery one. I'm just going to use a long length of line. I'm going to flick it right in the lion's den, as they say. Make sure that's on. You know what, I want to go a little bit deeper than that. I'm a little bit shallow there, I think. How deep is it out there? 2 foot. So I'm going to go a little bit further. Nice slow fall of your hook bait is important, so put them. I've got 2 little shots just underneath a 0.3 cooker, and before I flicker out there, I'm just going to fire out a few 6mm. Now you have to bear with me, I haven't done this style of fishing in ages, but it's exciting. It's usually your first few flicks, that's when you get the bite. If you're going to catch on it, it's like quite an instant method, so I'm literally flicking an 8mm pellet right up to them, the front of them reeds, so if there's any carp that are grubbing in and around where them reeds are, I'm going to have a good chance of getting them. Tell you what, it's going to be proper exciting, because when you do get a bite on this, they try and pull you in the reeds. So it's going to be quite frantic stuff. So we'll see how we get on. But I haven't had a bite yet. I'm going to flick it slightly to my right. One problem when you are flicking up to like cover like that, you can catch the reeds easy. But you almost have to pendulum it in. It's like you pendulum it. It's like flick it out. So you bring it towards you, and flick it, and you find your rhythm. Like you find where you should be flicking it, as in like your distance in your hands and your pole and everything, the length of line. I haven't had a bite yet, but I can see quite a few fish topping, as in like knocking the reeds behind me, which tells me they're right behind them, but can't get to them obviously. Got to try and find a way of flicking this rig in there, but you've literally got to flick it. You're fishing for fish that are not technically feeding. That's where they're just chilling out in and around the reeds. So you're flicking a pellet right by where they're just chilling out. You can hear the pellets plop, and the little cookie plops as well. It's like plop, plop. So you're not actually feeding. I'll tell you what. Saw a fish swirl right there. I think that was right on the top. Few fish kicking about here, you know. But as I said to you before, right, you're basically fishing for fish that aren't feeding, so you're like dobbing in a way. But all I'm doing now is trying to get off to a start where I can catch 2 or 3 fish, you know what I mean? 2 or 3, my target's 6, so if I don't get to 6, it's one of them. But my target is just to try and get to say 6 fish before I even go down the edge, because that's where if I'm gonna win the match today or do well, I'm gonna have to catch down this margin. So I've got 2 little areas that I've covered. I've got the long pole margin down to the next pallet, which is like 30 metres, which is lovely. And then I've got a closer one, which is like 4-5 metres to my right. right, if I get a bite there, I am screwed, because I am right in the lion's den there. Literally, you can't get any closer to the reeds there. I'm right in it. So, pray for me if this goes under. Oh, I can see a Sorry, I'm a bit quiet there. Jesus! Woo! I reckon you need double red hydro on. Flipping heck. But it's out of the reed, so now I'm just going to take my time. It's my first fish, but as you can see, I was trying to be super quick there. But it's quite a snaggy little peg, this one. Right, lovely. First carp in the bag, about £5, it's good. And that's a good thing, because it's giving me something to think now. Well, I'm obviously fishing the right method, because I've had a bite in about my first cast ship out of fishing this style, whereas I had 2 or 3 casts before on the bottom, and it just tells me that they might not be wanting to be on the bottom today. Maybe they're just, like I said to you, chilling out like a foot off the like from the surface. So maybe just flicking this rig's a good idea to do, because I'm not fishing for a lot of fish on this line. I'm not looking to fish it all day. I'm only looking to fish it, say, for the first hour and a half. But it's an instant fish, which is great. Didn't have to mess around too much. It did come out, but I tell you what, phew, you have to be double quick there with them, because that's ridiculous. As I said to you, I'm right in the lion's den there. I mean, you ain't getting any closer to them little bank of reeds, but that's where they are. So it's one of them, it's risk and reward. Yes, you might lose a few fish, you might lose a bit of gear, but I think it's the best way of fishing this peg at the moment, because they're not feeding confidently at the minute, obviously, because I would have caught a few fish on the bottom, and maybe just dobbing about with this pellet, flicking it to where they are actually just chilling out. It's the best option. But tell you what, it pulled hard to start with, to be honest. Like a few pellets in and around where I'm got my hook bait, like that. Oh God, if that goes, I'm knackered. It's quite fun, to be fair, because look, there's reeds knocking everywhere. Oh, that was a little indication. But you have to be quite open-minded with pegs like this, because you have a plan in your head in the first, say, 10-15 minutes of the match. Right, I'm going to go and do this, and the signs were telling me that these fish, they're all like a foot and a half off the surface in them reeds, and it's like, why am I not flicking a rig to them? So I think this is the best option. I literally got a lovely peg, to be honest, because you've got a whole bank to my right I can flick to. You basically, it's like winter dobbing, but with an 8mm pellet, and you're making the noise of the pellet and your float hit the surface as the bit of the attractor. I don't want to feed too much bait, because I don't want to send him a bit wappy, so I'm just going to play it by ear. Not a very big fish, 4.5, 5 pound maybe, 4.5. But this can be a great way of just catching quite quickly, because you're not waiting for fish to come and feed and stuff like that. You're actually going to them. So I'm not really panicking, but you'll be able to see from the film that I'm not leaving it in for very long. I'm literally letting it flick, the plop plop, and then I'm just going to wait there. 1, 2, 3. You've got to almost visualise your pellet falling through the water, so when the fish does hear the bait hit the surface of the water, so like this for example, it hears the plop, it's falling through, the 8mm pellet's falling through, it's falling through, it's falling through, Stopped probably now because I'm only fishing like a foot and a bit deep. Now I'm not actually, I'm relying on a fish to come and like just see my hook bait, whereas the way I'm fishing right now, I'm actually flicking towards where I think fish are. As in, I've seen a little reed knock there, that's why I've gone slightly left now. I've seen a couple of reeds just like fluttering almost. And I'm flicking my rig right on them, to be fair. It's fishing nice, I'm happy with how it's fishing. Oh God, please don't go there, God. So I'm not, it's almost like, the way I can explain it is, you like your lure fishing for that, you know when you see them people bass fishing and like flicking a lure right where the fish are just chilling out. Made a slight change. I've actually had 4 carp, not very big ones, probably between 4 and 7 pound. I've had 4 and 6 pound probably. They're not big fish, not like great big monsters. But then the wind got up really bad, so it meant that I couldn't flick the rig properly. It kept drifting. I think if that rig's drifting, as soon as it hits the surface, it's no good. You need nicer conditions to flick that rig. So I did a slight change. I actually went back to hard pellets on the bottom across there, which is what I started on. And I've just had one about probably 5 minutes ago. But to be honest, the fishing is absolutely brutal. It's really, really hard to... Oh God, literally, you get a bite and it's like, oh God. That was 100% a carp that as well, so you need to ship back, so my rig's a bit tangled, but you need to strike really hard and then ship straight back as quick as you can, so it's no prisoner sort of stuff. It's quite brutal, but there's definitely a few fish out there, which is good because I'm on 5 fish, so I'm happy. I've lost one that's broke me. And I've missed that bite then, but I've actually only missed 2 bites, so I'm not unhappy about that. Sorry, I've missed 1 bite and I've lost 1, so that's quite a good average really. I'm on 5, and to be honest, I'd have taken 6 fish in this first hour and a half, so I think, I'm not sure what we're on right now, but I need 1 more carp, and then I've hit my target in a way. But I'm a bit reluctant to go down the edge too early. I hate going down the edge too early in a session, because I think that I just don't think they come in and feed confidently if you go and catch like a couple really quick, because I know I could go down there now. I'm confident that if I went down there now and fed a bit of ground bait and started fishing, I'd catch a few, but I wanted to give it, to be honest, I wanted to give it at least 2 hours trying to catch some fish out here. So if I can get to like 6+ fish out here, I'll be absolutely buzzing. I'll be really happy, because they're not small fish, they're decent stamp, like they probably average is about 5 pound I'd say. So it's not, you know, I've got about 25 pound of fish, which is okay. But I know I can definitely catch at least 80 pound plus if they do come in the edge and they're bigger fish. I know I can catch in the edge and catch a big weight, but I'm very reluctant to go down there too early. So that's why I'm still fishing out here. There's still an odd bite to keep me interested. So it's not easy, I'm not gonna lie, because you feel like, honestly, the fish in here pull so hard and they're just dragging me into the reeds. You'll see from the shots, it's absolutely brutal stuff. I mean, I'm using an Aventus 900 here, and the lads behind me said that it's been in some all right shapes, that were a proper bite that. So he said it'd been in some right shapes, so it's definitely up to the job. And it's important that you get a nice stiff pull. It's, you know, because you are getting quite an odd indication. You're striking at sharp bites, and you need to be quick when you're shipping back. You'll see from the shots, it looks like I'm shipping back like a madman, but trust me, if you don't ship back as quick as I am right now, you're just going to get broke. They're going to go into them reeds and just break you. Literally just snap your hook length like cotton, because it rubs up against the reed and it's like, oh, see you later, you've lost an hook length and lost a fish. So you've got to be very, very quick with it in terms of shipping back and pulling. But I've had a couple of indications this ship out, which makes me think there's enough fish out there for me to be catching now. So I'm gonna persevere. I hopefully can convert one more of these, convert a bite into a fish. Sorry, I'm muddling up my words, I'm concentrating. But the wind's really making it really, really tricky. But honestly, if I feel like if I'd have chucked a hybrid feeder across there, I just don't think I'd have caught anything. I really don't. I think I've done the best option, and I think I've used the flicking the rig quite well, to be honest. I'm quite happy with that. So I'm quite happy with how it's going so far. Just need to try and get another couple of fish in the net. But you can see from the wind, honestly it's really tricky, but apparently it's going to be like this for a while and then stop. So hopefully it stops soon, because this is making it really hard to fish a long pole now. Well, we're just under about 2 hours into the match and I'm absolutely knackered. It is honestly like going to the gym times 10. These fish are so hard to get out of these reeds here. It's ridiculous. I've lost one, but I think I've got 4 or 5 in. I had a little flurry of getting them all in and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, but I've just lost a good one. It broke my hook length, but it's obviously they're going so far into them reeds, it's ridiculous. In terms of the rig that you might be thinking about what I'm actually flicking out here, because I've come away from on the bottom out there, it just doesn't seem right, to be honest. Doesn't seem quite right today. So I've gone back to the flicking the rig, but it's obviously blowing a newly now, which is, wow, God, that is so far, and if that has not come off, I will eat my hat. I don't know if you can see that on camera. That is literally, oh my god, it's coming out. That is mad. That just shows how hard they're actually fighting. I got a bite on cam, which is great, but I don't know how many carp I'm on now. I think the camera boys might know. How many carp am I on? About 11, 10. Yeah, double figures now, which is great. 2 hours in, I'm really happy with that. This will be about 11, or probably say 11, I reckon. One's only been a little one, but they're all between like 4 and 6 pounds, so it's quite happy with that. About 4 and a bit, 4.5 pound, 4 pound. But it's very hard work. I'm not going to lie to you, it is really, really difficult. Come on. I'm looking forward to going down the edge, to be honest, and that's what I'm going to be doing next. Where's my discordia device gone? I had it somewhere, where's it gone? Gotta get in my box. But I'm looking forward to getting down the edge, gang, because I'm definitely looking forward to not having to pull them out of the reed, because it's so hard, honestly. It's very difficult at times. And these size fish are so notoriously hard for fighting, especially when you're fishing up to reeds like this. The bigger ones, the great big ones, don't pull as hard, but this size fish is the scrappers. I'm going to change my hook length, a bit damaged that. I've got a 16 Super MWG hook on, 019 engage, and I've got a little micro bait band on there. And that, honestly, I've been so impressed with that 019 engage hook length. It's bulletproof stuff that, and as you can see from what's going on here, it's taking some serious hammer. And the main line is 022 Engage. I've got a 0.3 wire cookie on, and I've actually got about, I'm not sure how long that is, about 5 foot of line between my tip, which is got black hydro in. I've got a normal kit with black hydro in, and I've got about 5 or 6 foot of line because I'm flicking it out obviously, and the good thing about that is it allows me to ship back quite quick, and I think that's what's allowing me to get them out of these reeds, because if I was just going to fish a short little lash, I wouldn't be able to ship back in time because they're so quick. They know exactly where they want to go. But it's interesting because I said to the lads off camera, if you don't get that rig and the pellet landing right next to the far bank reed bed, like you're almost like that just flicked on the reed, but if you don't get it flicking like that, perfect, that's a potential bite. You have to get it flicking right in there because you're going into the lion's den big time. But I'm not going to be doing this all day. I've got the margin up my sleeve, but I don't want to go on that too early, because I think as soon as you start feeding down there, you've got to do it at the right time of day. I don't want to do it at, say, like 2 hours into my match, an hour and a half into my match. I want to give myself at least 3 hours down there to catch some fish. But because I am on an end and it does look nice, I've got loads of room there, it's making me think I might go down there a bit sooner than I usually would. Because it is an end, the wind's been blowing down there, I think there will naturally be fish down there, so I'm going to give it another 10 minutes on this, I reckon, try and catch another fish, another couple, and then I'm going to start feeding down the edge, but I'm not going to fish there straight away. I'm literally going to put a pot of ground bait in, leave it for, I'm going to set a stopwatch, leave it for 5 minutes, then I'm going to get another pot of ground bait, put that in, leave it again for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to set a little timer there, and I'm going to give it a couple of minutes, and I'm going to start fishing down there. By feeding a couple of times before you actually fish on it, just allows them fish to get into your peg, be nice and confident. If you put your pot of ground bait in straight away, and put your hook bait in straight away over the top of it, sorry, I think they're just spooky, they're very wary of it, so you've got to almost build it up. Oh God, I thought that were a bite. Jesus, me out, fell out my chest. But you can see what I'm trying to do. I'm flicking that rig out like I've spoke to you about, making the pellet land, the noise of the pellets going plop, and then my float's making a plop as well. So it's a couple of noises, and then hopefully you get, well, all the bites have been within the first 10 seconds of the float. So like now that's that done, because it's all, you're fishing on the drop. You're basically fishing shallow but with a flick rig. And I'm not feeding anything. I found better not to feed anything. I'm just using my hook bait and the float as the loose feed, if that's making sense. So I'm using that as my attraction. Tell you what, noticeable, I haven't had a bite for literally, well, only 5 or 6 flicks out, but the sun's come out now. I'm not sure they don't seem to be as active out over there. I think they preferred it when that little bit of cloud were over the heads, bit of cover. Look, cloud's gone in a little, sun's gone in a little bit behind a cloud now, so I like that. But I think I had a flurry of about 6 fish there, so I'm at my target. You know, I'm at about 12 fish, 11 fish, which is brilliant, to be honest. I'm very happy with that. Really happy actually. I've lost about 3, but it's going to happen. Look at the state of my peg. It's literally, you're fishing in a snag pit. It's going to happen. So I'm not unhappy. One of them I could have definitely got out, but it's funny because when you get your bite, you don't actually look at where you, like now. Oh God, that was a proper bite. You're not actually looking. You just ship back as quick as you can, and the fish was actually to my right. So I definitely could have. If I'd have put more pressure onto the left, I could have got that fish out, but I'm not unhappy with that sort of ratio. I've got 12 in. That's on. Oh, pulled out of that one then. Oof. But it's definitely what I said about the cloud cover. I think it's right. I do. I think that sun's gone back in, and I've had 2 bites in 2 little flicks, and they definitely they don't like this sun. So I'm going to give it another. I'm going to set my stopwatch. If it'll work. Come on. I'm going to give that 10 minutes, and as soon as that 10 minutes is up, I'm going to start feeding down the edge, because I think that's where I'm going to have to fish in the last part of the latter parts of the match. But I'm only 2 hours in, so I'm happy. We'll finish at 7 o'clock, so it's a bit of an evening match. So we finish at 7, so I've got plenty of time. I've still got 4 hours left, so I can, if they start coming in down the edge earlier on, then, you know, game on really is. Could have a big weight, because I've got about, I'd say I've got 45, 50 pound now. So it's going well. Geez, the crafty little devils, these fish, honestly. They've got to be right in that reed, right next to it. It's definitely going to be a fish incoming here, either. It just feels right now. That sun's gone in. Just missed a bite. There's one. Oh my God, honestly, I nearly took the camera voice clean out. I'm afraid, gang, I reckon that's a be seeing you moment. Rimmer crapped himself. Could be a full rig gone, that. Yeah, full rig gone. Happens. Wasn't even that big a fish, that one. It's annoying. That was my only little flicking rig, that was, boys. Frustrating. So the flicking rig, as in the long line, has gone a bit quiet. I think a bit of disturbance. I'm going to feed my edge. I'm going to feed it with ground bait. I'm going to put a pot of ground bait in. That's it, no particles yet. All the ground bait is 50-50 mix of margin mix and green supreme. I like green coloured ground bait down the edge. Just find it works best for me. I'm just going to put a pot in. It's around 12.5-13 metres down the edge. I think it'll give me a chance of catching a bit quicker. And what I mean by that is when you fish further away from yourself down the edge, they're a bit less spooky. Slap the surface of water a little bit. It's worked for me a treat, that, to be honest. They hear the noise of it, then they come into the ball of ground bait, as in the cup of ground bait. I'm going to set my stopwatch, like I said. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. I'm going to get my flicking rig again and go back out there. For me and honest, the wind's a nightmare for doing this flicking now. Don't think I can present it as nice. I might go on the bottom out there yet, but I think there's still a couple of fish to be caught on this flicking rig. It's just a bit, it's gone a bit funny out there, but it's one of them. I lost my rig, as in I can see it. It's stuck in the reeds out there. And it's never. You'll know from yourself in your own matches. It's never quite the same when you have to pick up another rig. I've had to make it a little bit makeshift, but if I'm going to do well in this match, I think I'm going to have to fish down the edge. But I don't want to go down there too soon. I know it is an evening match, so I'm kind of thinking about that. In my head, I'm thinking 3:30, 4:45, then I'm going to start, literally, it's margin time then. Because I don't think I'm going to win the match doing what I'm doing now, but this is a gap filler. Because you can't just expect to come to any match and just fish down the edge all day from back to back. You need to do something else. And the best way that I've found of putting fish in the net, although it is hard work, is with this flicking rig. So I'm flicking a literally 8mm pellet out over on the far bank reeds. But gone a bit funny, to be honest. I haven't had a bite for a while. It just feels a bit different. This wind isn't helping, it's just pulling through a bit quicker than what I'd like, so. But it's one of them. Keep going with it, keep flicking. I want one more fish before I go down the edge, if I'm honest. I want at least one more. So if I can get that, I'll be very happy. And I think, oh, that were indication then. Crafty little bleeder. Honestly, this wind is not helping me at all. It's not my friend today. But I'm going to stay patient. I've got a good start in the match. I'm happy with I'm like probably two and a half hours in. Got 12, I think it's 12, I'm not sure. It might be, I'm going to say 12. 12 carp for about £50 I think I've got. First bite I've had in a while, it's good. Rig's just flicked over on the cookie there. I'm going to try and shake it. Look at lucky cookie. It is honestly like all hell breaks loose when you get a bite. It's crazy. Oh, I just flicked that in then. I must have spooked one because the reed knocked straight away, like right next to it. It's not easy fishing this, everyone. It's not. It's so hard, and I'm really looking forward to going down that edge. I hope I catch down the edge because I don't want to be doing this all day. I don't think that were a reed. That wasn't a fish. I don't want to be doing this all day. But that's at 3.5 minutes. That now that stopwatch. So I want one more fish before I go down there because I think what'll happen is I might get, that's what I think will happen, I hope anyway. I'll get 1 or 2 fish, but then I think it'll go a bit weird, a bit spooky, because the longer you leave them edges, honestly, I know I'm repeating myself, but the longer you leave them, the miles better it is. So let's try and get another fish on this and then get down that edge. So I've hooked that fish that I said I wanted before I went down the edge. It's a nice carp, about £5, £6. Honestly, the wind is an absolute nightmare, but I tried fishing on the bottom over there. You can't hold it properly. Oh, not good. I'm going to put the poo in here. There we go. This seems to be the only way of continuously catching. Just so happens, start talking and a monsoon comes past. Typical. Come on. So I want to get this fish in the net. I'm going to feed another ball of ground bait. I don't know why I say ball all the time. It's not, it's a cup. Come on. God, they feed them on here. Steroids. Jesus, give it a rest. Christ, pull your arm off. It's about 13 fish, I think, so I'm well over my target. That down. Like I said, I need to sort myself out here. I'm in a bit of a mess. Don't know where my poles ended up. I'm gonna get another ball of ground bait in. I'm gonna get another cup of ground bait in. I'm gonna put an odd grain of corn in this time, just a little bit of a amuse bouche, something for him to actually eat other than ground bait, which is just going to attract him. We'll put a little bit of pinch of corn. So I'm going to put that second cup of ground bait, put an odd pinch of corn and a little bit of dead maggot in there as well. Just a little bit, not a lot, mainly ground bait. Don't want to put too many particles in because I don't know. One, I don't know about the little fish. I don't know if there's loads of little fish. If there is, I don't want to put too many maggots in because they can be a nightmare. And two, I just want the ground bit to really draw him in. So I'm going to set my stopwatch again. That we're at 10 minutes. So it only took me 10 minutes to get that carp. It's not a bad thing. I'm going to set it to another 10 minutes. Maybe I'm going to do 5 minutes. And then I'm going to feed another cup. And I'm going to go straight in over the top of it. Hopefully, there'll be a few fish waiting there. But I hope you understand what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get 2 or 3 cups of bait to build the confidence. Then I'm going to start fishing. I don't want to go in fishing straight away. Probably said that 500 times, but you can't stress how important it is. Back out here, try and get one more if I'm greedy. I'll give myself 5 minutes to get another one. If I don't, I'm going to go down the edge because I need to start thinking. Oh my God, it went straight away. Ooh. Surprising that one, I can't believe it went straight away. The first flick. Oh God, I am shattered, honestly. Don't feel as big this one, but I'm going to take another carp. It's about 14 now, so I'm quite happy with that. If I get it in, that is. Feels alright, feels a decent one. Similar size to the others, they're all like 4 to 6 pounds. I'm hoping to get some of the bigger ones down the edge. That's where the real weight builders are. Honestly, it's make or break down that edge. Got it. 4.5. Four and a bit. I'm only at 1 minute 50 there, so I'm gonna have another chance, give myself another shot at it because it went straight away. So give it another go. Just literally an 8mm pellet in that band. Where's my pole gone? Oh, there he is. I haven't seen any signs of fish. It's only about 1.5 foot, 18 inches deep down the edge where I fed the ground bit, so I think I'd see signs of fish if they were there. I haven't seen any swirls or anything. But I'm sure there'll be a few down there. Wind's blowing down there, bit of room. Fingers crossed. Oh, a fish swirled right at the back of where I just flicked it then. Feel like there's more fish there now. It's weird. Sometimes you feel like there's not none there at all, then it'll just sit there and you one flick and it'll go straight away. So there's definitely a number of fish over there, but they're obviously not the massive carp because there's a lot of big fish in here. A lot. Like double figure fish. We haven't had any of them yet. Biggest is about 7 pound. Oh. Just lost another one then, but I swore and the cameraman told me off. I'm sorry. Felt a good one, that and all. Stopwatch, 4.5 minutes now, so I'm not going to leave it too long. I'm literally going to give this the next 3 or 4 flicks. If it doesn't go, I need to start thinking down the edge now. I'm happy with how it's gone. I've got about 14 fish. So if I get some big fish down this edge, you never know, you could get a good weight. I've probably got 55 to 60 pound, I think I've got. So if I've got 60 pound now and I get another 60, I think you'll need more than one. You need 100 to 150, I think today you will. But with it being like an evening style match, you don't know, it could be, you could need even more. But it's all reliant on whether or not I catch down that edge. I need to catch down that edge because I ain't going to get 150 pound doing this, because the conditions and the pegs is too hard work. And to be honest, I'm looking forward to a bit of a break because my back and my arms are killing. Sorry, I swore again. Literally lion's den job, innit? Horrible. So I'm going to put half a cup of ground bait, a bit of corn and a few maggots. I'm going to put that in down this edge here. It's around 18 inches to 2 foot deep. And I'm actually going to start fishing there now. I'm going to set my stopwatch. I'm going to give myself 10 minutes. Really good idea to use a stopwatch. A lot of people associate it just with feeder fishing. But it's a really good guide, because if I don't get a fish down here in 10 minutes, I'm wasting too much time. So I'm going to start on my favourite ever hook bait for carp. I'm starting on about 6 dead maggots, massive hook bait. More, I'm going to put 7 on. Lucky number 7. So this is, it's not make or break. If this doesn't go under now, as in like with a carp, I'm not stressing, but that's why it's important not to just think now, oh that's it now, I'm going to fish in the edge, that's it, I'm done. Have a stopwatch with you and set it, and make sure you're not wasting too much time. So it's exciting because if it goes under, it's usually with a bigger fish, but we'll see. No signs yet. I've got proper tackle on here. I've got red hydro on, 022 engage main line, 0.4 margin diamond, little bulk a shot, and all I've got is a 5-inch hook length of 019 engage to a 12 XS spade hook. So it's proper gear. Not messing around. If I catch down the edge, I'm looking to catch a big fish, and hopefully quite a lot of them will be handy. No signs yet, hasn't gone. Usually you get, if there's a lot of carp there, you get an indication quite quick. And I haven't had an indication there yet. Kind of need to catch down the edge, I think. If I'm going to do well in this match today, I need to fish down this edge and catch. I've got 2 edge options. I've got about 13 metres here, which I'm fishing, which is what I expect to catch quite earlier on, because it's a bit further away from myself, further away from all the cameramen. I think they could catch here earlier than I would do when if I. Oh, indication, liner. That's good news. Instead of liner then. But I've also got like a 5 metre line here, just at the other side of these reeds here, which you can't see. I need to try and find a way of holding my pole. A bit awkward here, you know, with the. There we go, that's nice. Got 7 maggots on. Big bait. Big visual up bait. Really hoping this goes under soon. Thought I'd have had a sign by now, to be honest. It's not great start down this edge. Might be a tiny bit too early, maybe. So I'm going to give it 7 minutes. If I don't get an indication, as in a fish, in the 7 minutes, I'm going to go back flicking. But I really don't want to flick out there, if I'm honest. I've had enough of it. Arms are killing. Wind's really tricky. I thought I'd have had an indication by now, but it's only, the only thing I will say is it's a good sign because I've got maggot hook bait on and I haven't had a little fish. That's good. It means I can fish a maggot hook bait and not get pestered by little small roach and perch, which is good. I love maggots. I think carp absolutely love them. But it might just be a tad too early for these carp to come down the edge yet. It's not a problem. Just doesn't feel quite edgy yet. Still early on in the match, we're not even halfway through yet. Probably just about halfway through. No, not feeling it yet. I'm gonna put half a pot of ground bait in, and I've only been 5.5 minutes there, but I'm just not feeling that. You get indications early on if they're there in your peg. You know when they're in your peg. You get liner, you get little movements on your float, but I didn't have any of that then, so I'm gonna put a bit of bait they can eat now. Put a GB. Then we go back to flicking. Flick, 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 flick. And to be honest, I think giving that little flicking line a bit of a rest and a break will definitely not do me any harm. I think next time I flick out, I should get a bite in the first few, flicks of my rig. Whereas I think if you're just constantly flicking away, and it's a bit much. I'm actually going to try a little red pellet, red dyed activated coarse 8mm pellet. Actually dyed it with some colourant. Maybe a red coloured pellet might get me a bite a bit quicker. You can use different hook baits here, so if you've got a hook bait pellet that you want to use, you can, but you have to feed, obviously, fishery pellets. So I think I'm going to get a bite, give me a good chance of getting a bite in the first few flicks of this rig. Oh, wind is an absolute nightmare, it's gusting everywhere. Oh, bite straight away there then. Change of that hook bait seemed to work quite quick, but to be honest, I think because I've given the peg about 15 minutes rest, it's obvious the longer you leave that line, you're not actually fishing it, the more confident they are. Feels a slightly better fish, this one. Very, very hard fighting carp. Ridiculous. This one was so deep in them reeds, it's mental. Right, come here, baby. Even more reeds to me right here. Sorry, my left. Probably £6–7 this one. 5 or 6 pound. Not a bad one. Absolutely nailed. That's 16 Super MWGs working a treat. The fishing's got significantly harder, the temperatures have dropped, the wind's really strong now. It's literally so difficult to hold this pole and present it properly. I can't catch down the edge, to be honest. I've tried a few times and I don't know, I've got about 2 hours left of the match, so still enough time to still catch down the edge, but they're really spooky and wary. I've had an odd liner, very odd though. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't feel like there's a ton of carp down in that corner. I really don't. Because if there was, I'd have caught them by now. The only fish I've caught, I've got about 16 carp now. I've only had 1 carp or maybe 2 carp in the past 2 hours, hour and a half. Flicking this rig, it's been the only way that I've found of getting any sort of fish in the net. I know it's fishing quite difficult around me. Every time I look up, I can't see anyone bagging. I'm a little bit hemmed in here, so I can't really see a lot, but I don't think anyone's setting a world alight. I need to catch down this edge. I think I need to finish the match stronger than what I am now, because I've noticed it's definitely dwindling, this line. It's an odd bite here and there, very odd. In fact, I'm making sure I'm going to go down the edge, because I feel like I'm just wasting time there. I've literally just lost a really good carp, which annoyed me. The fish are out in there, but I don't know if you can see from the camera, if the boys can get it, there's so many reeds at the back edge of where I'm fishing, and I think they're coming in and out of there every now and then, and that's why you get 2 or 3 bites in little succession, but there's no rhythm to it. It was earlier because it was better and it was a bit warmer. Now it feels cold, like I've had to put my hoodie on. Just feels a lot colder than what it did before. So I'm going to go down this edge, I'm going to feed it before, I'm going to try maggots because I'm not getting pestered by any little fish. And I've actually gone further down the bank. I've gone right in front of that next pallet because I feel like I don't think anyone's bagging. So a little pinch of maggots. I'm going to go quite aggressive with maggots, like that amount. Then I'm going to go nice, not loads, just about 100 ground bait. Pat it down, pop that in. I'm going to fish straight over the top of it. Before I do, I'm going to feed a few pellets out on that long line. Honestly, the wind is horrific today. Really hasn't helped me, this. You'd think wind blowing in your corner that you're an end peg on, it'd be amazing, but I can't present my rig properly out there, and I don't know, it just don't feel a very warm wind, so I don't know if they're following it. They might not be, because I haven't seen a single carp topping this corner for a good hour or 2, which is not a good sign because I'm obviously fishing down there, but we'll see. Give it a good go. I've just wiped Toby's GoPro out. Tell you what, I won't have to go to the gym after today. I'm absolutely knackered. So I've got my hook bait already on. That's a nice tip for you, because if you are catching quite quickly down the edge, you want to make sure you've got your hook bait on the rig, put it to your side, then feed, and then you straight in over the top. It just keeps you a little bit quicker, a little bit more efficient. So let's see if this is actually my second go down here to the right, further down the bank. So let's see if it results in a fish. I need to catch down the edge here, need to. My peg's not strong enough opposite me. I need a flurry of carp here. If I'm going to win or do well in the match, I'm at about 16 carp. You need to have 25 carp today, because they're not a massive stamp. I've had a couple that'll be like, one's £2, one will be £3. So my biggest fish is like £7. So I know people, especially behind me in the bowl and stuff, there's massive carp in there, and I need to catch down this edge. If I'm going to do well in the match today, I need to catch down this edge. As simple as that. Come on. Looks absolutely lovely for it. I can't put it in any nicer. Or oh, big liner. That's a good sign, very good sign. So with about just under 2 hours to go now, I'm really relying on catching down this edge. It needs to do me a favour, because it's just so hard work out there at the minute. You get one fish and then you have to wait ages for your next bite, so it's not going to be good enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and concentrate a lot of my efforts now down this edge, and I haven't actually had a bite yet down the edge, which is very worrying. By now it's 5 o'clock, so we finish at 7 o'clock. Should be catching down the edge now. If there's a number of fish there, I should have had at least a bite. So that's really worrying me, if I'm honest. I don't know what to do, but the only way I can catch any fish, as in put anything in the net, is across on the far bank. But the fishing's so difficult over there. Getting them fish out, they're just absolute nightmares. Just had a carp or something disturb my float. Didn't look like a line, it looked like it was swimming through it, but I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. I should be catching there now. That looks absolutely perfect, should be catching, so I just don't think there's enough there. If there's not enough there, they just won't come in, I don't think. Or they might come in and then, you've got 2 hours left, so you could have, you know, the last hour and a half down there, it could be brilliant, but I'm fishing nearly 16 metres down this edge to my next pallet and just not going under. Not yet anyway. You'll hopefully get a little flurry, but I've got this edge down here to me left, which is just about 5 metres. I haven't seen any swirls there yet. Lift that rig out, pop it back in again. Still got them maggot hook bait on. Same rig as what I had before, 0.4 margin diamond. It's not getting tested yet. Last hour time now. It's not been what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a lot better this last hour. I thought we were going to be catching down the edge. I thought it was going to be brilliant. To put it bluntly, it's been rubbish this last hour. I think I've had one fish in this last hour and a bit now. It's so hard going, and honestly, I can't explain enough. I'm absolutely shattered, and it's definitely affecting like how quick I am, because I've lost 2 fish in these reeds and I'm physically like absolutely exhausted now, and the only way I'm finding a way of getting a fish or any sort of bite is by flicking this rig and getting an odd fish here and there. But I've just had one then about 10 minutes ago, but it's so hard going, and we're into the last hour, but you never know, they could rock up down the edge. So I've just fed my edges again. I've got 2 lines going now, but I've literally had 1 bite down the edge, which tells me there's hardly any carp in that bottom right hand corner. I think they're more out of the wind, because this wind has been cold, and I've noticed, it's no coincidence. Sorry everyone, flipping heck, that is absolute joke. I cannot pull any physically harder than that. It's not even that big. Come on. Oh, I'm shattered, honestly. I'm not even putting it on for cameras, I'm physically knackered. Oh. So we're into the last hour. I have got them edges lines primed up like I said, but I'm not feeling them, honestly. I think I'd have caught one there by now if there were a lot of carp there. So I think I'm probably better off just grinning and bearing it. Oh, I'm trying to put these in the net because I don't know what everyone else is doing. I can't see anything, but I think this is my best shot of doing well in the match now. Oh. Odd indication down this edge now, but it's not, there's not enough fish down here. I think the fact it's so shallow, this cold wind blowing in, it's just not been the one today, but I don't know how I'd feed this different. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'd fish it slightly different down this edge. Maybe I wouldn't be as aggressive with ground bait as I have been. I'd maybe look at feeding something like micros and corn and fishing for a fish at a time, but it's such a long way down this edge. But I felt like next to that pallet is my best chance of a bite because there's just not enough numbers of fish here, definitely not. Not to make me think that, oh yeah, there's potentially a match winning weight here, because I've had literally 3 or 4 fish in the last 3 hours, which just shows a feast or famine peg. When you run out of bites and your peg gets worse, it means that there wasn't a volume of fish in front of you, like a big number. And apparently it's fished a lot better in the bowl behind me, so you know, I think on a different day I'd have taken, oh, that were it's hard, you know, get odd indication down there, but it's not enough to make you think that looked like it could have been a bite. But I think I'm getting a bit desperate, to be honest, striking at liners. But that flicking rig now, at the minute, I couldn't get a bite there. I had 1 fish and then I flicked for about another 5-10 minutes, didn't get any bites. There's been a constant theme on that flicking rig. The longer I'm fishing it, so if I catch a fish and expect to catch multiple afterwards, it's just not happening. So I feel like the best option is come down here for 5-10 minutes. I've had a couple of indications. I don't know if I've had a proper bite. I've only had 1 proper bite down the edge, which is not good enough. Not on a commercial. You're fishing an evening match, man. You should be catching an odd fish down the edge, to say the least, which tells me there's not enough down there. But I'm only really using this as a bit of a rest for my flicking line, because I feel like if I rest it, my best chance of a bite is by resting it 5 or 10 minutes, then going, that looked like an indication. Could have been a liner. Yeah, I'm just going to keep rocking and rolling with it. How long have we got left, Toby? Just over half an hour left, so not a lot of time left. I don't think we've done enough to win the match or anything like that, but I'm trying my best to get a bite down this edge, because it'll really annoy me if I don't actually catch a fish down here. Oh, I've just took one. Oh, Jesus! Flipping heck! Why does everything in this lake pull like mad? That one tried to go down that channel. They did warn me about that, to be fair. Do us a favour. That red hydro, I definitely needed that there. Oh my God, it's a tench. The tinker. Now, if there was ever a sign there's not a lot of carp in your edge, it's probably that. Lovely fish. Oh, that's my silver net, so I'm going to pop him in the old silver net. Is he a silverfish? I'm not sure. Can't believe the tench pulled that hard. I'm gonna feed it again because I feel like I'm gonna have to rest it at some point, but I'm gonna probably go out and flick now because that's not a good sign, if I'm honest. If you're getting lots of little fish or a tench like that, it's just a classic sign that there's not enough carp there for them to compete because they're getting a chance to eat your bait. So I'll feed this now and then I'm gonna go and flick my rig for the 500th time. We're approaching the final 6 minutes now of the match. Tried everything really. I'm still on 19 fish. I'm going to spend the last 5-6 minutes down this edge to the next pallet, which feels 5,000 miles away right now. But I'm absolutely shattered, I'll be truthful. I think, what would I have done slightly different? I think, you know what? I'm quite happy with the flicking the rig. I think I've been good at that, as in it's worked well. I feel like I've lost a couple of fish that maybe shouldn't have lost. I've just had a massive liner and spooked a carp, or it looked like some sort of fish. But I just put my rig in and it must have been right on its back or something. Give it another minute and then I'll have a last 5 minutes where I'll feed. But I'm happy with the way that the long lines worked. I've tried fishing on the bottom out there. I've only had one fish on the bottom, which shows me that flicking the rig was probably right, because it's not like I haven't tried on the bottom out there. It's just obvious that it's very reedy over there, as you can see, and they're all sitting about a foot and a half deep, and they're just not. It might be something to do with the bottom. Maybe the bottom's full of reeds, so it's not that nice and flat. But yeah, I'm happy with the flicking the rig, good. This edge, definitely haven't had this right. I feel like, what could I have done down this edge? Don't know, I'm not sure I'd have fished it as long as I have done now. I think that's been a kind of learning curve. I think it's been too far to fish it, but because it was fishing hard, I thought maybe fishing in front of the next platform would be the right way to do it. I'm only looking for like 2 or 3 fish down there to finish off my match, but there's just not been enough fish here, either in the edges. But the main thing I think I've learned is I should have fished away from the bank. I think if I'd have fished like maybe a short pole line in front of that platform, I might have caught a few fish. So like imagine 4 or 5 metres to my left now. I think I could have caught a few fish there if I'd have done that. But it's hindsight. I don't know this venue. As I said at the start, I haven't fished here for 20 years. I didn't know. But I'm really disappointed how my matches finish in terms of numbers of fish. But I can be 100% honest and say I couldn't have tried any harder. I'm absolutely shattered, and I feel like, oh, indication, but it's not a clean bite. Shouldn't really be striking it, and maybe if I look at that last one, I'm going to put another bit of GB in. before the match finishes. I've just tangled my rig, which isn't great, not when you've got like 3 or 4 minutes left. Hopefully it comes out. Give it a little wiggle. Come on, baby. But yeah, I think if I'd have fished off the bank, maybe with hard pellets, that would have been a better option, because I'm not sure this ground bait and corn and stuff is right. I've got a little mixture. I've tried feeding a bit of like a corn, and I'm just going to move the GoPro around that way so you can see it. I've tried feeding this, which is a mixture of the ground bait and micro pellets. I mean, I'll grain of corn in, but I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. I think I should have fished hard pellets off the bank. That might have got me to a few more fish, especially in this last little bit, but it's hindsight, and I thought it was going to be a lot better fishing, if I'm honest, in terms of the weights and the numbers. Don't get me wrong, I've had 19 carps, it's not bad, but it could be a lot better, I think, if this wind, you know, if the wind was like this now, I think I'd have had a real good chance, because it's not, doesn't feel cold now. Whereas when that wind picked up in that middle, I think it was the 4th and 5th hour, that really, really knackered me. Big time. Grain of corn on the hook. Get rid of that. Can't have long left. A minute. Got about a minute left, so let's see if we can hook one. I mean, I've been fishing there for quite a long time and I ain't hooked one yet, so I don't have many high hopes, but final minute of the match. Come on. 25-pound carp. That's one tip I will give you. If the next peg platform is ideally closer than what I'm fishing now, always try and fish up to the next peg platform. They're used to bait going in there at the end of the matches. It's just a nice bit of cover for them as well. I think it's definitely a worthwhile area of fishing, definitely. I think it's just a matter of there's not been tons of carp in this corner. I haven't seen a fish top for hours, as in a proper carp. Time. That's time. Didn't go. But I'm quite happy with how the match has gone. I just feel like I maybe didn't get a few things right. But all in all, I am absolutely shattered, and I'm looking forward to not shipping that pole out. I'm absolutely killing. We've just done the weigh-in, and on reflection I'm quite happy how my match has gone. It's been really, really tricky. It's not been easy at all. Not loads of bites, but when you do get a bite they try and pull you into the reeds, which is very, very tough, and I'm absolutely shattered because holding a long pole, I've literally fished 16 metres most of the day. That's hard enough, but when they're all trying to pull you in the lake, it is very, very tiring. But it's very rewarding because I feel like I've got the most from that longer line. I think I could have maybe done the margin slightly different, fish a little bit away from the bank with hard pellets. I think that might have nicked me a couple of fish. But we've just done the weigh-in, as I said. I've had 85 pounds, which has actually finished second in the match. 128 pounds has won the match. So yeah, looking back, quite happy with my result. I think I'm ready for a lie down now.